Anything less than a Super Bowl appearance for the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, is a wasted, failed season. I want to be clear about that. Anything less than a Super Bowl appearance is a failed season, in my opinion. To me, there was no excuse last year. There was no excuse in 2023. There was no excuse back in 2019. There have been multiple opportunities for Lamar and the Ravens to get to the Super Bowl. And you can look back at a lot of these playoff games that they've lost, and you just look at them and it's like, what did the opposition do that to beat you that you didn't do to yourself? Turnovers, uncharacteristic playing, not running the football. These are things that the Ravens did to themselves to contribute to them losing in the playoffs. In 2023, the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. You run the ball less than 10 times. When have the Baltimore Ravens ever ran the ball that little? Ever? Like in their 30 years of history. When have they ever not ran the football? You were only down a touchdown, and you completely abandoned who you were from an identity standpoint. You fell, prey to, oh my God, it's Kansas City, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Andy Reid. We got to do what they do better to beat them. That's exactly what they wanted you to do, and you did it. You tried to play their game instead of your game, and it cost you. Lamar Jackson, you had two crucial turnovers. One that was a horrible throw to Isaiah Likely trying to go to the end zone. He was in triple coverage. The pass had no chance. These are things that, and I mentioned plays like that. We can go back to the Buffalo game last year. The interception of Bateman, miscommunication, Andrews, the fumble, Andrews dropping the 2-point conversion, even though the Ravens fought back. These are all things that you can point to that the Ravens did what they could to beat themselves and help the opponent. But I don't believe that it was because the other team was better. They played better. They played smarter. They played clean football and didn't turn the ball over and gave you extra opportunities. That's what they didn't do. But you look at roster to roster straight up last year, the Ravens had a better team. 2023 against Kansas City Chiefs, Ravens had a better team across the board. Had a much better team. They didn't play smart. They played uncharacteristic. It's something up here with them. Enough is enough. I have to tip my cap to GM Eric DeCosta. This Ravens front office, and I've been critical of them in the past. I know I've been critical. I've been a little critical about the older wide receivers and everything, but by all accounts, DeAndre Hopkins coming out of camp, he's been pretty good. Are you ready for this? I'm even going to put stock in Rashad Bateman now. I've been a guy that has said trade Rashad Bateman. I'm done with him. He's not worth the first round draft pick that he was. I just have not been. I've never been high on him, but he had a really good season last year. He really did. So I'm actually going to put stock in Rashad Bateman and say I'm expecting another good season this year from him. So wide receiver, in my opinion, is no longer an excuse for that I can put with the Ravens. You got Zay Flowers, the Ravens' first ever drafted Pro Bowler, and then you got Bateman, and now you got DeAndre Hopkins there. Talon Wallace is another really good receiver to have in that room. You got Likely, you got Andrews, you got Derrick Henry, you got Keaton Mitchell coming back, who's finally healthy and is expected to make a big impact. And you got Justice Hill back there. So your running back room is set. Your offensive line is still very solid. Defensively, you got Matt BK on the defensive line. You got Roquan Smith at linebacker. Your secondary on paper looks ridiculous. Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander. John Harbaugh, Super Bowl winning coach, has been there. What's the excuse now? There wasn't an excuse back then. There damn sure isn't one now. So for me, you have to get it done. If you don't get to the Super Bowl, and things can happen, barring injury, knock on wood. I get all that, but it's time. Nobody cares what you do in the regular season. Nobody's going to care what happens week one if you win. If you beat Josh Allen in week 1 and you beat Patrick Mahomes in week 4, nobody's going to care. It's not. I can almost guarantee you it's not going to be on the A block for most sports shows if they win. If they lose, then it's a story. Now we're talking about, oh, here we go. Lamar Jackson, is he overpaid? Is his career a failure without a Super Bowl? Will he ever beat Patrick Mahomes, and all these stupid storylines that sports shows like to come up with when it comes to Lamar Jackson, not anybody else. We've never heard this with Joe Burrow or Josh Allen, guys who have not won the Super Bowl. Never hear that about them. Is their career a failure without a Super Bowl? No, but I remember that. But here's the reality: if you're Lamar Jackson, you have to win the championship. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you don't even win the AFC North. Just get to the playoffs. Nobody cares about the AFC North anymore. You can literally not win the AFC North and get into the playoffs as a wild card. No one's going to care. Get to the Super Bowl. You're too talented. Anything else is not good enough. That's where Lamar Jackson has graduated, I say. But really, it's like these are the expectations for a quarterback that looks like Lamar Jackson. Let's be real. Josh Allen, he loses to Kansas City again. Oh, it's not Josh Allen's fault. He tried. He did everything he could. He's still a great guy and great for the city of Buffalo. Joe Burrow, not in 8th season, but should be in the MVP conversation, even though his team sucks. That's the difference. And I'm playing devil's advocate right now. Lamar, it's time. We can't keep seeing you have these turnovers, these ill-advised turnovers. When you played so well in the regular season, you had top 5 best QBR in the history of the NFL this past season, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Don't matter. The only thing people are looking at is that you lost to Josh Allen and you didn't play well by other people's standards. Nobody's giving you credit for bringing the team back in the second half because it doesn't matter. You lost. You have to get back to this. You have to get to the Super Bowl and you have to win. That's the only way that the negative stuff, and even then it might not go away. It's funny I talk about, the narratives on Lamar Jackson and how, he sucks in the playoffs. You can't win the Super Bowl with that kind of quarterback. All the stuff that's been said ever since he came in the league. None of that gets nullified. None of it gets taken away until you win the championship. Now, I said the bare minimum for the Ravens this year is getting to the Super Bowl. I think that is a necessary, barometer to put with this team. We look at it because across the board, Eric DeCosta has done his job. There's nothing. What else can he do to this roster? What else can he do? He's done just about everything you possibly can, given the fact that you've already paid your superstar quarterback. Most of the salary cap is going to that position. Based on what you have there, Eric DeCosta has done an excellent job putting together a very good roster. They just have to stay healthy. And they have to go do the same thing that you did in the playoffs. Do the same thing you do in the regular season. Do it in the playoffs. Be the same guys. Be the same guys. Run the football. Play great defense. Don't make these ill-advised mistakes that we don't see during the regular season. When Andrews fumbled, he was running sideline to sideline. I've never seen Andrews do that in the regular season. He's always up north south. I've never seen him do the little sideways cut, go sideline to sideline, trying to make a play. I get it. It's football. Your instinct is going to take over, but, just do the same thing you did in the regular season. Just because the Ravens are just as good, if not maybe have the best roster in the NFL when you look at it on paper, outside of maybe Philadelphia, outside of the Rams maybe. Kansas City has gotten better. We know I'll talk about them in a minute, but there's no excuse. Nobody cares if you beat what you do in the regular season. Nobody cares if you win the AFC North or not. You have to get to the playoffs. You have to get to the Super Bowl. That's my objective take with the Ravens. Like, you have to get there. Anything else to me is a absolute letdown and a wasted season. And all those comments about how the Ravens are the Philadelphia 76ers, they're the new Dallas Cowboys and of the AFC North and all that. All those comments start to get more leverage because now you're seeing fans behave the way they are, saying that we're going to Super Bowl, and then we fail. All that continues to get more, it becomes more solid, it becomes more real. Because let's be honest, the Ravens have had teams that are more than capable of getting to the Super Bowl, and they have failed. They flopped. And in my opinion, not because they weren't the better team. It's because they did everything they could to lose and help the other team win. So until that stops, until the mental aspect of it carries over into the playoffs, we're going to see it again. And that's going to be a failed season. So, Ravens, it's Super Bowl bust, truly. I am a Ravens fan, but objectively, I don't see a reason why you can't get back there. I know Kansas City got better. I know Buffalo's going to be there. I know Burrow's coming back and everything. I know what's in the AFC. But Lamar Jackson is too talented. I think this team is too talented to at least not be making an appearance in the Super Bowl